Chapter 14, Facing Myself. My relationships with people were shaped by the secrets I kept and the lies I had to tell. I feared that the more I shared of myself, the more people I would drag into my mess. The lies I told to get jobs were exacerbated by the lies I told friends and coworkers about who I was, where I came from, what I could not do, and why. When my friend Angelica invited me to her wedding in Mexico City, I made up some lie about my grandmother being sick. For me, traveling outside of the country was out of the question. If I leave the US, there's no guarantee I would be allowed back. I never displayed photos of family members at work or at home. You put photos up, people ask questions. There were many times I actually told people that my parents were dead. It was easier to say that I was alone, just as, years earlier, it was easier for me to represent myself at parent-teacher meetings. For more than a decade, I carried the weight of trying to succeed in my profession. I need that byline, I need that story, I need to be seen, while wanting to be invisible so I didn't draw too much attention to myself. Then came the Zuckerberg story. There I was, walking down California Avenue near downtown Palo Alto, less than 2 miles from the home where I was raised, cajoling Zuckerberg to open up to me. I had asked him about his trip to an ashram in India, about his mistakes and regrets running Facebook at such a young age, about his controversial views on transparency and publicness. While unable to truly open up about myself, throughout 2010, I started reading stories about young undocumented Americans, many of them still in high school and college. Their rallying cry was, "We're undocumented, unafraid, and unapologetic." And using new technologies that I'd been writing about, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they were chronicling their own stories, daring politicians and the public alike to look away. I was particularly attracted to the story of a young undocumented immigrant from Ecuador named Maria Gabriela Pacheco, whom everyone called Gabby. She had been organizing for immigrant rights since she was in high school. Joined by 3 friends, Gabby walked from Miami, where she grew up, to Washington to drum up support for the DREAM Act. I followed Gabby's story on social media. I even stalked her on Facebook. There she was in the news, sharing her story publicly and trying to engage people like Joe Arpaio, the notorious sheriff who talked about and treated undocumented immigrants like cattle. How could she be so fearless? Why was I so scared? There comes a moment in each of our lives when we must confront the central truth in order for life to go on. For my life to go on, I had to get at the truth about where I came from. On that August afternoon, working on the biggest assignment of my life, I realized that I could no longer live with the easy answer. I could no longer live with my lies. Passing was no longer enough. Before I could write any more stories, I had to investigate my life. To free myself, in fact, to face myself, I had to write my story.